D-Day, the invasion of Normandy. D-Day occurred on June 6, 1944, during World War II. American forces invaded the beaches of Normandy in Normandy, France. Over 150,000 American, British, and Canadian troops took on the invasion. This was the largest seaborne attack in history. The planning for D-Day began over a year in advance from the official date of the attack. The Allied forces began strategizing plans in 1943. In August, the Allies outlined their plans for Operation Overlord, which was the nickname for the attack. 2 months prior to the invasion, important code names and words began to be used. It was also called D-Day because there was no official set date, it simply meant the day. They conducted a deception plan to distract the Germans so they weren't expecting their attack. The goal of D-Day was to take over German assets, and the operation was formed around gaining France's independence back from German control. Germany had 55 divisions in France. Therefore, surprise was a crucial element in their plan of attack. Dwight D. Eisenhower was chosen as the General of the United States, and Bernard Montgomery was chosen as the General for the British. General Eisenhower was not very optimistic about the invasion. He feared defeat and even prepared a letter in case of his death and the invasion failing. As you can see here is a picture of General Eisenhower and General Montgomery discussing plans for Operation Overlord. The original date was planned for June 5th, but because of poor and dangerous weather conditions, the attack was postponed. Although there was very bad waves and high tide and overcast skies, Eisenhower proceeded with the attack. The high tide actually helped the Allied troops avoid obstacles put in the water by the Germans. The operation began overnight, and by dawn thousands of paratroopers and glider troops were already on the ground behind enemy lines, securing bridges and exit roads. Dummies were also dropped in order to draw fire and confuse the enemy. 156,000 Allied troops began to cross the English Channel. They attacked 5 different beaches that stretched over 50 miles. They codenamed these beaches from east to west: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. The beaches of Normandy were bombarded by naval and air forces. There were 3,000 landing ships, 500 naval vessels, and 13,000 aircrafts that supported the invasion in one day. The entire naval portion of the invasion was codenamed Operation Neptune. As you can see, the troops set out from different areas of Great Britain and headed to occupied France to the 50-mile coast of northern France in Normandy. The section of the beach, codenamed Utah, was the last to be added to the plan. The U.S. 7th Division invaded Utah. They actually landed 2 kilometers from their original target. The rough terrain and heavy flooding caused many obstacles for the troops. The objective of Utah was to secure the location of facilities at Cherbourg. Omaha was the most restricted of the 5 beaches, as well as the most heavily defended. The 1st and 29th U.S. Infantry Division embarked through the abnormal assortment of bluffs and cliffs. There were limited advancements because of the narrow and steep bluffs. Omaha saw the largest number of casualties and was eventually nicknamed Bloody Omaha. The objective for this division was to obtain a lodgment area between ports. Although it was difficult, they pushed through to St. Lo and cut off German communication systems. 34,000 U.S. troops landed in Omaha and 2,400 suffered from casualties. The Germans lost 20% of their strength in this battle. The next 3 beaches, Gold, Juno, and Sword, did not arrive till an hour after the U.S. troops at Utah and Omaha. Seizing Arrow Notches and the road junction at Bayou were the 2 main objectives established for Gold Beach. British victory was aided from being well equipped with heavy armor and funnies. Funnies were specialist vehicles armed with 290mm motors designed for clearing obstacles, minefields, and overall destruction. Juno was the landing area of the 3rd Canadian Division. There was heavy opposition at Courcelles-sur-Mer. However, despite the opposition, they were able to advance to their objective. Juno had moderate casualties and had the deepest land penetration of all divisions this day. The British 3rd Infantry Division took on Sword Beach and broke through the opposition's water edge. The objective to take over Caen was not complete and remained unfulfilled until late June. The outcome of D-Day was a success. In August of 1944, the Allies conquered France and reached Seine River. Allied casualties added up to nearly 5,000. However, the newly developed drug, penicillin, went with the troops during battle and saved many, many lives. The success of D-Day began the downfall of Germany's power. From the German perspective, they suffered from confusion in the ranks due to the absence of Commander Rommel. Hitler believed that the real attack was a fake one to distract the area north of the Seine River, so he refused to release nearby divisions to join the counterattack. Other reinforcements were called, but this caused many delays. The Germans also hesitated to call for any armored divisions to help in the defense. After the invasion, Paris was liberated from the Germans and they lost all control in France. This victory turned the tide against the Nazis and Hitler was unable to build a strong Eastern Front. Thus the downfall of the German power in the remainder of World War II.